Why sex and violence are important for the development of healthy masculinity. This is a triggering title, a triggering video for some, but these truths, these words need to be said. And yes, I'm a wild man with long hair making a video out in the forest. I think that's where masculinity thrives, actually, in wild, open spaces. So let's dive into it. First things first, we all have to understand is that we live in the most peaceful era ever. We also live in the most sexless era ever. Young men, young people are having less sex in general. My generation parties less, fights less. They're more repressed than ever, okay? And this is evidence if you look at any stats about testosterone, stats about the rise of sexless men or incels, the decline of relationships, the decline of things that make us wild, that make us alive. We're stuck on TikTok, on our phones, in these environments of conformity. And right now, the prevailing morality of our times says that masculinity, aggression, violence, even boys roughhousing, all of these things are wrong. Anything outside of kindness, anything outside of comfort, anything outside of complete tolerance is wrong. And this is seriously stunting the development of men and the development of boys into healthy men. So it all comes down to repression, okay? If you're a man out there, when do you feel most alive? It's an important question. I feel most alive when I'm dancing as hard as I can, when I'm sparring, or when I'm making love. Those things, having wild sex, dancing, fighting, those things bring out this primal element inside of you that is full of life, that is full of vitality. And oftentimes when I'm just going through my day doing intellectual work, looking at the Instagram, watching movies, and all of these things are kind of deadening. They're kind of numbing. Look at the rise of painkillers and all these things that we feed our children. It's all about numbing them from their instincts. And we're a society that's intensely sick because we live so disconnected from our instincts. So that's what this video is about. It's about the fact that sex and violence are the two most primal instincts within boys and within men. And a lot of people are going to dispute this or say that's wrong. But those who say that's wrong, you just got to look at your value system here, because you are denying the two things that literally make you feel alive. The most life-affirming things is to somehow affirm violence, to somehow affirm sex, to somehow affirm the wildness in the masculine soul. So let's talk about violence first. I like to do MMA. I like to do Muay Thai. I like to spar. I wrestled growing up. I'll often, challenge the boys at the beach to a casual wrestling match. And honestly, it's pretty fun because most of the time we're going through our days and we're just kind of caught up in our minds, caught up in these numbing emotions, in melancholy, or, whatever it is. And the thing is that the primal initiations back in the day for men, guess where they happened? They happened in the wilderness, against danger. Sometimes there was warfare involved. Oftentimes there was a hunt involved. There was something very, very violent about it, something very intense about it. And we see all of this as evil, all of this as bad right now. And I agree that bullying the old women on the sidewalks or, fighting to the death with your neighbors is probably not a good thing. But we can't deny the instinct, or else it just leads to this great shadow within humanity. What we need to do is create healthy spaces for its expression, and especially in boys. I once saw a Gillette commercial, I think, where it was kind of condemning boys roughhousing and playing and saying that's not how we treat each other. We want to be gentle and kind, and, the prevailing morality of our time is all about kindness. The thing is boys roughhousing is the most natural thing on earth. Look at lions playing, look at bear cubs playing, look at any other animal playing. They're going to be roughhousing, they're going to be tumbling around. It should almost be encouraged in our boys until a certain age where it gets there's actually true danger involved. Because you get to know your own body, you get to know what aggression feels like. You get to know these things and actually integrate them. And that's the thing, is nothing can become healthy and whole unless it has the power, the ability to make mistakes at the beginning. It's like making YouTube videos. You're never going to get good at this unless you just like try and you make mistakes and you blunder in different ways. So violence is pretty obvious. You know, it's the one thing that actually makes us feel alive. And sex is the other thing. I was thinking about what makes me feel confident, right? What makes me feel truly confident and embodied and vital? Having a good fuck or having a good fight? Like, I'm just being honest here. If you do those things well, and go into it and unleash yourself for once in your life, like unleash all of these inhibitions and actually be a wild primal animal that you are. All of a sudden, like, you have a little bit of swagger about you. You have more of an edge. You're not so timid in life. And this timidity in all men is so crippling. Because here's the thing, in order to beat addictions, to overcome grief, to overcome depression and the sedation of the spirit, we need to do things that radically make us feel alive, that break through the barriers. And this, coming back to the ancient initiations of masculinity, setting a circle and sitting in that, singing songs and crying to God for 3 days straight, fasting. Imagine the intensity of that experience. A powerful psychedelic journey, a fight to the death, like a duel, going to combat, going to war, was almost a sacred initiation of all Indo-European peoples forever. It's the same thing with Native Americans. It's the same thing across every single culture, and we don't understand this anymore. It's like fighting wasn't just about killing. It was about this radical experience of courage in your body, of, you know, bringing yourself to your edge, going through adversity, going through struggle, and coming out as a man. And we just like don't respect any of this anymore. And I get it, like global warfare with all of our technological nukes and ballistic missiles, it's like, it's so different. So it needs to be transformed, but it can't be left behind, is all I'm saying in this video. And sex is an interesting topic because I don't really believe in promiscuity at all. I think that destroys society and this leads to rubbish. It actually leads to sexlessness like we see today, where a few people are having loads of sexual experiences and most people aren't having any. I don't know the solution here, but all I know is sex and violence lead to healthy masculinity if they're actually integrated and you have men and elders to talk with about these kinds of things, and you actually have these powerful experiences of being alive. And the last thing I want to say here is that danger is so intertwined with masculinity, because masculinity at its essence is the mastery of open spaces. Okay, like going into the wilderness where there's danger, where you must survive, you have to learn things like courage, industriousness. It actually like jolts you out of the mundane rhythm of life, right? And sex and violence are the most two dangerous things that a man can do in so many ways. It is like, and dancing, all the filters, all these layers we put over ourselves dissolve. And I know for me, when I dance with another man or I fight with another man, I get to know that man on a deeper level. And no, I don't fuck other men, but I'm sure that would be one way too. All I'm saying here is that the things that are beneath the filters are really important. And they're really, like, so many men, if you're struggling with phone addictions, with porn addictions, with like just weakness and depression and these limiting beliefs, you need to get radically outside of this limiting, sedated ego and go be alive again. You're going to learn so much if you put vitality and wildness first. Thanks for watching. I'm Christian. Link below if you want to join my men's group, looking for philosophical thinkers and leaders out there to come discuss, come grow, come learn, and apply with us. Thanks for being here. Peace.